All right, I'm now on page, sorry about that, P94 of the math homework. P93, again, if you're having trouble with the problems on P93, go back to the videos that cover page 213, 214, and 215, because those problems are very similar, just different numbers compared to the problems on P93. So I've kind of gone over those type of problems already. You'll just need to go back and rewatch some of those videos. But again, if you have any other additional questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand. All right, let's get started on P94. Milo has a collection of DVDs. Out of 45 DVDs, 40% are comedies, and the remaining are action adventures. How many action adventures DVDs does Milo own? So again, if I made my model, 45 DVDs would be representing 100%, all of his DVDs. So if of those 40% are comedies, the rest would represent 60%. But we need to know what those amounts are. So we need to find 1%. That's always the first step, find 1%. So 45 is 100%, so that would be 45 over 100. 1%, so that would be 0.45, 45 hundredths. And now 0.45, that equals 1%. So 40 of those would tell us how many are comedies, and then 60 of these would tell us how many are remaining. So we need to find just the remaining for this problem. It says how many action adventure DVDs does Milo own? So I'm going to multiply 45 45 hundredths times 60, because that's the remaining. Okay, so let's go ahead and show our work over here. 0.45 times 60. And I'll let you go ahead and do that math. Don't forget, you have 2 numbers behind the decimal here, 0 numbers behind the decimal here, so you're going to move your decimal over twice before you get your final answer. All right, again, I'm going to let you do that math, but if you have any other questions, raise your hand. Get rid of some of this. I don't want you erasing your work, though. Remember, you have scratch paper. Use as much as you want. Andrea and her partner are writing a 12-page science report. They completed 25% of the report in class and 50% of the remaining pages after school. How many pages do Andrea and her partner still have to write? Okay, so they finished 25 and then 50, so they finished 75% of a 12-page paper, but 100% would be those 12 pages. So 75% of that would be how many pages, and then that will tell us how many pages they still have to write. So let's find 1%. So 12 is 100, so 12 over 100. 12 hundredths written as a decimal, 0.12. Now I multiply that times 75. That would tell me how many pages they've already written, but I also know that if they've already written 75%, they only have 25% left, and that's what I want to know. How many pages do they still have to write? So I'm going to multiply 0.12 times this 25%. And just remember, you got 2 numbers behind the decimal here, no numbers behind the decimal here, so when you're done, you're going to move your decimal over twice. I'll let you go ahead and do that math again, but if you have any other questions, please raise your hand. All right. What is the absolute value of negative 4/25? So absolute value They're just asking how far away from 0 is negative 4/25. Well, you should be able to answer that. But again, if you need help, raise your hand and I can help you with that. Just remember, it's the absolute value. So what does that equal? And remember, absolute value is always going to be a positive number. Okay, Ricardo graphed a point by starting at the origin. Origin is 0, 0. He moves 5 units to the left. And remember, if we have an coordinate plane, X is always first, then Y. Y is up and down. And X is right and left. So 5 units to the left, that's going to be over 5. And then he moved 2 units up, so it's going to be 2 units up, somewhere around there. What is the ordered pair of the point he graphed? Well, if he started at 0, 0, and he moved left, that's going to be negative and 5. And then he moved up. Up is positive, positive 2. All right, number 5. The population of birds in a sanctuary increases at a steady rate. The graph of the population over time has the points 1 and 105 and 3 and 315. Name another point on the graph. Okay, so we can make a table. It's one way to solve this. We could graph it. That would be another way to solve it. So it looks like it's going up 105 each time. So if I put 2, that would be 210. So another point would be 2 and 210. And there are many other possible answers as well for that particular problem. Okay, Alicia's MP3 player contains 1,260 songs. Given that 35% of the songs are rock, 20% of the songs are rap, how many songs are the other types of songs? So we need to find the total that are rap and rock. That would be 55%. We know 100% is 1,260. That's all of them. So 55%. Whoops. 55%. That's the rap and the rock. And the rest is going to be 45%, but we don't know what that number is. So let's change it. Let's figure out what 1% is first. So 1,260 over 100 equals, move my decimal over twice, so it's going to be 12.6, and I could put 0 here, but that doesn't change the value. 12.60 or 12.6, that's going to be 1%, and then I'm going to multiply that by 45. And just remember, once you get your answer, you have 1 number behind the decimal here, 0 numbers behind the decimal here. So you're going to move the decimal over once you get your final answer. So again, I'm going to let you go ahead and do that math, and then you'll be finding out how many songs are not rap or rock out of those 1,260 songs. Again, if you have any questions, though, don't hesitate to raise your hand and ask. That's how we learn. Make sure you're listening to the videos, following along. That's also going to help you. All right, thanks again. See you on the next one.